I want to talk about the belt squat march and hold. This is an exercise that you will see me doing at least once a week, and I just wanted to speak a little bit on it because I think outside looking in, I'm sure a lot of people are like, what does that do? What's the point of that? It's actually a really huge staple in my recovery, strengthening, and endurance. It hits all three things. It's really good for strength, recovery, and endurance. Just starting with recovery, this is on my special exercises lower day, which is my recovery day for lower. Basically, all you do on a belt squat, it doesn't have to be the real belt squat with the cable pulley system. You can run any belt squat. I prefer bands as to regular weight because it just feels like when you're stepping, the bands are constantly pulling you down, a lot more so than if you were to have just weight on there. It just keeps that constant tension. So literally all you do is you march in place for whatever time it is that you have set for yourself. For example, you'll march in place for a minute. You don't have to like bring your knees up really high. It just literally all I do is I bring my foot off the floor. Not really high, just as long as my foot leaves the floor. So I'll march in place for a minute, and then as soon as that minute is up, I'll go directly into my squat stance, and I will stand locked out, squeezing my glutes as hard as I can the whole time. It's not just standing there locked out. It's standing there while squeezing your glutes as hard as you can the whole time. And then after that minute's up, that set's done. This is something that really helps with my conditioning, because sometimes I'll get up to sometimes 4 sets of a minute each, to 6 sets of a minute each, to 4 sets of 90 seconds each. It's just that low impact, just constant go, constant march. You should be able to get it to where you're not winded, but you're ready to be done. Like there should be some burn. The glute should be burning really bad, and you should be breathing a little bit. And after 4, 5, 6 sets, whatever you're doing, you should feel pretty warmed up. Also, with recovery, the belt pulling your hips down like that, it helps. I use that to help decompress my lower back. If there's ever a time where my lower back feels tight, compressed, I'll usually do something on a belt squat because it helps decompress my lower back. And if my hips are also off, shifted, the belt squat pulling down also helps correct any sort of hip tilt or anything like that. And recovery. This is something I do right after my max effort day. Just getting that constant blood flow to your lower extremities, mainly specifically in your glutes. That just helps me recover like tenfold. Since I started doing these, my recovery sped up a lot, and it's something that I do at least once a week, and it just helps so much more than people might think. Like you just see me marching in place, and then standing there for a minute, and just like, what does that do? But it's an extremely valuable tool that I have. It teaches you to work through something when you feel like you're not going to be able to finish it. Like for example, you should use a weight or a band tension to where when you get to that 30-second, 45-second mark, it should start to suck. It should be hard to finish it. Not hard to where you're like lurching side to side, but it should be hard to where every step is like, this sucks, I'm gonna be fucking done with this. And if you set up your weight or your band tension to the point where at 30 seconds, 45 seconds, that shit starts to kick in, it teaches you to work through something that sucks. It just gives you a little bit of grit, a little bit of, I can do this. If I can work through this, I can work through other stuff that sucks. So I highly recommend, if you have access to a belt squat, that you try this. And I would start out small, whether it be 4 sets of 30 seconds march, then 30 seconds hold, or 3 sets of a minute march and then a minute hold. And then gradually you can work it up to where For example, I will do 20 belt squats directly into marching for a minute, then directly into holding for a minute, and then I'll do anywhere from 4 to 6 sets of that. And it's something where you're doing a lot of fucking work, but it's not, it's not negative. It's not tearing you down. It's help build you back up. So, absolutely, if you have access to a belt squat, try these on your recovery days or as a warm up to your lower days. But they're a very valuable tool.